welcome to another episode of The Person Behind the Pen. I am your host, Nick, and I am the founder of Guiding Brilliant Writers Publishing. I am incredibly excited for today's guest. I would be lying if I said I wasn't a bit nervous. I started my hybrid publishing company at the beginning of last year, and I've been writing now myself for a few years. To have a Wall Street Journal bestselling author grace this stage means a great deal to me. I aspire with my writing and also to give voices to others so that they have the opportunity to be published as well. With as many books as we have out there, less than 1% of the world's population is published. And it's no small feat getting to where she has. So I want to welcome Leslie Flowers. I know that it is extremely annoying sometimes that it gets all glitchy here on LinkedIn. So if you are out there and trying to get something into us, I do appreciate you being here, and I will see you a little later on. So I'm going to jump right in here. I'm going to share a bit about Sheena, and then we're going to bring her right up. We're going to run the 30-minute show today. All right. So let me get my glasses on because I'm blind. All right. Sheena Yap Chan is a Wall Street Journal and Publishers Weekly best-selling author, TEDx speaker, keynote speaker, strategist, and award-winning podcaster, recognized for her work in elevating women's leadership and self-confidence through the power of media and visibility. She is the founder of the Confidence Through Visibility movement and host of the Tao of Self-Confidence podcast, ranked in the top 0.5% globally with over 1.3 million downloads and 800 plus interviews featuring celebrities, CEOs, and cultural icons. Her debut book, The Tao of Self-Confidence, was named one of the top 20 best self-confidence books of all time by Book Authority. While her latest release, Bridging the Confidence Gap, is a bold call to reimagine leadership by making visibility and self-trust core competencies. Through her signature Visible framework, Sheena delivers transformational keynotes and corporate programs that help organizations bridge the confidence gap, retain diverse talent, and build cultures where women are seen, heard, and respected. Her work has been featured on NBC News, Fox, Mind Valley, and the Manila Times, and she has spoken for global brands including NASA, Live Nation, and UKG. Sheena believes that confidence is something we can build and that visibility creates the impact we wish to see in the world. I don't even know what to say to that. I mean, I am going to just bring her up because, quite frankly, there's so many questions that I do want to ask. So, Sheena, welcome to The Person Behind the Pen. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be here.
Hey, Nicole, thank you so much for having me here today. It's truly an honor to be here, to chat with you, to be part of the conversation. So I'm just super excited and honored that you even reached out to me.
Oh gosh, absolutely. So I have been doing a bit of reading on your book, and as you can see, everyone out there, I want to say hi first and welcome you. Meryl Cass is out there from Jersey, just a stone's throw away from me, and my good friend Leslie Flowers checking in from North Carolina. Stephen Ang, we were just talking about you. And she knows saying she does know you from the online circuit, and I was letting her know I've had the privilege to meet you, and I know we'll be hanging out this summer for sure. So great to see you, my friend Jason Forehand, and Jackie Halberg is in the house. All right. So, Sheena, I want to dig right in because one of the things that you said in your bio was about, women in the space of leadership and being respected. And there was something that you shared in your introduction of your book where you said that women are not in jobs that challenge us and give us an opportunity to rise. I know I'm starting really hard, but we're on stage with two pretty powerful women. Yes, I consider myself a powerful woman too. And I really want to touch on that because the climate of what we're living in today in the United States is really tough. And I think that women are feeling a bit of the pinch. And so, when I think of all that women have accomplished and where you are yourself today and what you are teaching in your framework, would you talk a little bit about that with us?
Yeah, I mean, as women, we tend to play down our capability, right? It's the reason why I wrote Bridging the Confidence Gap, because there was a report from the World Economic Forum that mentioned that total gender parity would be achieved at the earliest in the year 2154. And unfortunately, that's when I wrote the book. So now it's actually delayed 4 more years. It's now 2158. And, as women, we're so capable. We're more than capable, but how we perceive ourselves stops us from moving forward. And that's where the gap is a disconnect from how capable we are versus how capable we feel. And many women deal with low self-confidence due to inaction, right? We're afraid to take that first step. We tend to overthink more. I know I do. I'm guilty of it. And because when we don't take action, nothing happens. And of course, it's not just us, being a woman in this world, it's not always easy. We go through so many things. There's just so many issues that we go through, whether it's we're judged by our looks, by our capabilities, by our upbringing. Those things also take into factor. One of the biggest things that women are afraid to do is self promotion, right? It is important to put yourself out there, to promote yourself, to be an advocate for yourself, because I see this time and time again where, and yes, women do rock, Jackie, where we've been told that if you work hard, the results speak for itself. And that's also in Asian culture, right? We've been taught,
Mhm.
just work hard, the results speak for itself. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Your results will not speak for itself. That's why it's important to showcase what you've been able to achieve, what you've been able to produce, because my biggest fear for you, for anyone listening, is that you do all the work, you put in all the effort, you don't share what you've been able to accomplish, and somebody else takes credit for it. And I've seen that time and time again. In fact, I recently saw a movie where they had this similar situation where a woman was, working on the books because she was an accountant, and she gave it to her male colleague to present at a meeting, and she was supposed to go to the meeting with him, and her male colleague was like, "Oh, you don't need to go. I'll be fine. I have the book. I have your name on the post-it note. I'll let them know you did all the work." And when it was time to go to the meeting, the lady actually kind of like peeped in to check and see if he was going to do it. He actually took that piece of post-it note, crumpled it, and threw it in the garbage.
My God.
So, it's important to be our own advocate. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it's not always easy. But if we don't do it, nothing happens, right? If we don't make those changes, nothing happens.
Absolutely. And like you said, we have to be our own biggest cheerleader. And I could understand how sometimes people could, misinterpret that for being egotistical, but it's different. And so I think that we can't expect people to believe in us if we first don't believe in ourselves. And it isn't going to be something that we're going to feel every moment, every day. I had my moment of, oh my goodness, she's going to be on my show. Am I going to be able to pull off this interview and not feel nervous? And not that, I am not confident in the work that I've accomplished so far, but in my industry, where you are with your best-selling Wall Street Journal book, somewhere I would like to be at some point in my life. So it's more of a mental thing than anything else. So I do appreciate you sharing that. Guys, if you have questions, let us know. And, I see Stephen is sharing this, and I find this interesting because to look at me, of course, most people are going to say she's Asian. And I am. I'm half Asian. My father's Cantonese Chinese. On my other side, though, my grandfather was Cantonese and Scottish. And my grandmother was of Indian descent. So I'm very mixed. And because I was born and raised in Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean, my cultural background is different. I was not raised with that put your head down, do your work. It's all about the grades. So I find this interesting because my father's sister, she raised the kids that way, and she was more steeped in the Asian culture because she was very close with her mom, whereas my dad wasn't. And that's very interesting to me. So when you talk about self promotion, right? how did you get into TEDx speaking? And the reason I bring that up is because I saw a post on your profile that shared after years of being rejected, um, you had your first TEDx talk, and this was in the Philippines. This was home for you.
Yeah, Philippines is home for me. And yes, I've applied to many different places, many different TEDx conferences, and I was rejected all the time. There was a conference organizer that told me that my idea was too specific, which really didn't make sense to me because TEDx is all about having new ideas. And in order to have new ideas, it is important to have specific stories, right? Um, you know, we've always been told that our specific stories don't matter when it's far from the truth. And so when I again, I said, I'm going to do it in the Philippines because this is going to be special. This is where I was born. I want to represent my country and showcase how awesome it is. So when I finally got the yes to speak, I was on cloud nine, but then that was just the beginning. I still had to prepare my speech, and preparing it is, it will take over your life. So, um, for about a month and a half straight, I was memorizing my speech, making sure I was able to perform it properly. And the one thing I forgot to do was even practice in my heels, like walking around in my heels,
Oh my
because
goodness!
it's like a whole
It's
performance, right?
not
It's
to
not
think
just
of.
about speaking, the memorizing, it's the hand gestures, how you convey the message to the audience. And so I practiced everywhere, like in the shower, in the train, walking, like every chance I got, I did it because I understood if I did a really good job, then I can utilize that to showcase what I speak about, my ideas, and be seen as a professional speaker. So I'm grateful that it finally happened after how many years, after how many rejections, even someone telling me my story was too specific. And I want people to understand that rejection is part of the process, right? Like, if people see me on LinkedIn, they see, oh, she speaks at so many conferences. And yes, I do. But people don't see behind closed doors. I get rejected at least like 10 to 20 times a week, right? And I think it's important to share that because, we always share the glamorous things and not share the not so glamorous things. And it's important to share the not so glamorous things because it's part of the process. Rejection is part of the process. We've all been there. And the more we can learn to move forward in spite of it, that's how we build confidence. That's how we build resilience. That's how we can keep moving forward. And sometimes you don't have to look at rejection as something negative. It can be, just a no right now, or it could be a blessing in disguise. Sometimes that no could be a good thing. So, yeah, I mean, being a TEDx speaker, like being able to call myself a TEDx speaker is really great. Finally did it at the age of 44. So it's never too late. And, seeing it on YouTube was really great, and seeing all the comments that people saying they resonated with it. This is something that they deal with because we all deal with, being invisible and thinking we need to work from the shadows or work behind the scenes when really we need to be upfront. And I think people have this misconception of being visible. Being visible doesn't mean you have to be everything everywhere all at once. It's all about being in front of the right decision makers, right? When you're in front of the right decision makers, it helps you move along to the next level, right? So yeah, really grateful that happened. And I think that's the one and only TEDx that I'll do.
Well, listen, now you know all the workings, and that you have to prepare everything, not just practice in the speech. Your heels, your facial expression, your so I get you. The reason I asked you that is because when you think about bridging the confidence gap and the Tao of Self-Confidence, right, which was your previous book, um, you have to have some kind of framework to keep bringing yourself back to that level of confidence you need to maintain in order to go after what you did. Because, like you said, with the number of times you got rejected, so like, were you following your own framework? Like, what was it that just, did your wife wanting to do it outweigh your fears? Was it that, this was a hard stop, must happen in my life, become a keynote speaker? How
I
did he
mean,
get the confidence going to like, because being confident is one thing, promoting yourself and getting great feedback is another thing.
mhm.
But when you're constantly going after something, because you said a lot of times with women, the confidence is due to inaction. So they're paralyzed by fear. And until you take the action and succeed and keep doing it over and over and over again, that's how you start to build the confidence in what it is that you're doing.
Yeah, I think one of the things I've done is in my book, I talk about this process of ready, fire, aim. And it's really about starting before you're ready, take action, and course correct as you go. Because, if we do ready, aim, fire, we just keep aiming for something that's not going to happen. Right.
Okay.
And
Awesome.
yeah. So for me, I would rather take imperfect action and pivot as I go than not taking action at all. And so being able to do ready, fire, aim, being able to just take action, figure it out. If I did it wrong, it's fine. Sometimes I think we have to get everything wrong to get everything right. And so, it's maybe right now you're going through a struggle, and maybe you have to go through that struggle to understand the solution that you're going to provide to that client. They're not gonna, someone's not gonna be able to, or someone's not gonna want to work with you if you don't know what they've been through, like really know what they've been through. Like if you know what they've been through and you're the answer, they're gonna be like, okay, I want to work with you, right? They want an outcome, they want a result, they want to know if what you do can transform them from A to B and even maybe C. And so, yeah, and that takes, testing, pivoting, taking imperfect action, making the first move, putting yourself out there. And it's okay if you make a mistake, right? This is not school. It's not, you're not going to get reprimanded for making a mistake, especially in entrepreneurship. Sometimes, like, your greatest opportunities comes from your mistakes. So don't be afraid to go take imperfect action, put yourself out there. You can figure it out as you go. Everything you can do, you can figure it out. A lot of people you see online, they just said yes and then they figured it out, right? Whether it was yes to an opportunity or to being on a show, whatever it was, they said yes and then they will figure it out. Like even myself, sometimes I say yes and I don't even know what I said yes to and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I can figure this out. I'll figure it out. Like it's not a big
Exactly.
deal. I said yes for a reason, and I'm just gonna do it. And if I fail, I fail. It's fine because failure is part of the process. It's important to fail forward, to know what went wrong so you can figure out, pinpoint what went wrong, and then correct it so you can do it better than ever. So I think that's really it. And having a purpose, right? For me, it is important to build representation. Like growing up in Toronto, I never had anybody in the media that looked like me. I always I was always ashamed of who I was, my own culture. And so I never wanted, the next generation to feel what I felt. And so that's why I started the podcast, write books, be on stages, because I understand how important it is to see someone that looks like you be on those stages. And I realized that representation is also visibility, right? Being visible, putting yourself out there, being seen. And in Asian culture, we're not taught to be seen. We're taught to hide behind the shadows, stay in the background, never make any noise, do as you're told. And I've spoken to a lot of, especially Asian females who have a hard time being seen, right? They have a business, they're a coach, they're a consultant, but they're afraid to even just share what they do. And it's like, if you don't promote yourself, if you don't share your products and services, you're doing a disservice to yourself and to the person who needs your products and service.
Definitely
So
have to say that.
so for me, this is why I do what I do out of, because it's not just about me, it's for every other woman out there. And I don't think any woman wants to wait till 2158 for gender parity to be achieved.
No, absolutely not. And very well said. And so much of it resonates with me because I am that person that says yes and then figures it out. And had I not had that attitude, I wouldn't be here today. It was an opportunity to be on a live show, which led to an opportunity to write in an anthology, which led to more writing, which led to starting a publishing company. And, again, you take the opportunities, you roll with it. So, how important is transparency? Because, like you say, people want to know that you understand that you've been through it, you've made the mistakes, and that's why you are able to help them perhaps bypass some of those mistakes, right? But on the other side, people say, you have to speak with authority, etc., etc. And like you say, with profiles and LinkedIn profiles, a lot of times what you see, is where people are now, right? And it's not even just a matter of what they went through that you don't know about. They're not going to share with you, you know, the 10 people that said, yeah, no way, I am not working with you. So, they'll share about the one person that said yes. So, how does transparency play into this? Because I always say that I'm transparent almost to my detriment, but it's an instinctual thing with me that I rather lay all my cards on the table up front.
Yeah, I think transparency is important, especially in entrepreneurship, especially with social media painting entrepreneurship a certain photo of certain picture that makes it look like, oh, it's so easy, you can make money in 30 days from a computer. And I'm not saying it's not possible. You can make money in 30 days, but people don't realize it took them 10 years to figure out to make money in 30 days, right? Or, you see them with fancy cars and fancy houses, but really you don't even realize they don't own it. They could be just renting it, right? So there's a lot of things that you see online that might not be true, right? Some are, some aren't, but it's also important to share the struggles we go through, right? Because entrepreneurship can be very lonely, right? Like we think we're the only ones dealing with them when really it's not, right? Like nothing is stable. Sometimes when you're starting out, there's no stable income. Sometimes you have to sacrifice a couple things. Rejection, failure, that's so important. It's part of it, right? And seeing other people online, we think they're an overnight success when really they're an overnight success 10, 20, 30 years in the making. Again, we see all the glory, but we never hear the story. And it's really important to hear um to hear those things, right?
Yeah.
Because if not, then we just think that not there's no struggle, there's no pushback, there's no challenges, when really working for yourself is a lot more challenging than working a job. So
It is.
um
I'm
it is,
just
like,
starting
it is.
here
And
too.
I'm not saying working a job isn't easy. I'm just saying it's you have to, like, you're everything's on you, right? Like you have to figure everything out. It's a whole different thing, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. So
Yeah. So I know it's like I'm starting year two of running the LLC, and and no discredit to working a job. I have work jobs, and yeah, they are hard, but this is a different animal altogether. You have to really, the easiest way to say it is you have to really want this. Because if you don't really want this, you're gonna crash fast. This is a hard business. Having your own business is a hard business. Meryl, I had a question for you. Speaking of Toronto, do you know five-time TEDx speaker Bobby Umar? I guess it's
I've
Umar.
only seen them on LinkedIn, so I don't think we've met in person as yet.
So, I always thought to myself, do I want to head in that direction of, being a speaker? And I'm not sure. And I'm glad you spoke about the TEDx part and how long it takes and what's involved, because so many people come to me about publishing a book. Many times, the very first thing out of their mouth is, I want a bestseller. And then the next thing out of their mouth is, I want to do a book because I want to be a keynote speaker and I want to do TEDx talks. What I think they don't understand is the journey ahead of them. And it isn't just publish a book and overnight you become a success. Why don't you share a little bit with us about, well, first of all, I'm assuming that you publish traditionally. Is Wiley traditional?
Yeah, Wiley's Traditional is one of the top publishers. And yeah, a book is a great way to build your brand and put yourself out there and be seen as a leader, get speaking engagements, but you have to work that book, right? Like you can't just write a book, publish it and think, magic is going to happen. Like writing the book is a lot of work, but it's even more work marketing it, putting yourself out there, being in front of the right audiences. And so it never ends, right? Like the oldest book in the world is the Bible. And till this day, it still gets promoted, right? At least
Exactly.
once
And
a
it still
week.
gets purchased. And
Yes.
I'm glad you
So
shared that because that's
so
something a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah, they just think, "Oh, I'm a bestseller." It's like, okay, it's a great title, but if you don't do anything with it, it's just a title. Like, you really
Mhm.
gotta put yourself out there, promote it, showcase yourself, promote yourself. Um, and be seen as that expert. Like, again, you can't hide behind the book. You have to treat this book as a extended business card, right? People read your story, they resonate with you, that can help you get clients, get speaking engagements. But again, you have to work it like a tool, like a marketing tool, because if not, then it's just wasted effort on your part.
It
So
is.
it goes beyond just writing and publishing. It's a if you just had one book and learned how to utilize it properly, then one book is all that you need, really. But people write books for a reason, because they know it can help them um, utilize it as a marketing tool, utilize it to build their brand, to get in front of the right people, to make relationships, sponsorships. There's so many things that you could do with a book. And people also has this misconception of speaking. It's like, what is the reason they want to speak? And not that speaking is a bad thing. Speaking is great, but if you use it to build your brand, again, get clients, be seen as an expert, speaking is a great way to do that. I think speaking is the easiest way to build trust with someone,
Mhm.
because they hear you, they see you, they see your frameworks, they know what you're doing. And so they're more willing to ask for your services, because now that you've built that trust factor, and that trust factor is important. And when you have a book and speaking together, then you're just building more on that trust bank. So putting yourself out there, promoting it, marketing it, utilizing it to build your brand, to build your products and services. For me, that's how it should be used, but a lot of people don't use it that way. You'd be surprised how many people have a book and don't really know what to do with it after, or they just
I
think,
know.
"Well, I already wrote a book, it should be giving me all these things." But no, you still have to put yourself out there, market the book, share it out, be on interviews like this, or share it on social media. Like, over the weekend, I found my books at the bookstore. I took a photo and shared about it on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, the
Because it's
author, they don't realize that they're the ones that sell the book, right? Everyone can help promote the book, but they really are the ones that are selling the book. People are buying from you because they know, like, and trust you, the author, right? And maybe there are other people who they trust that said this is a great book. But how important is it for you to have established credibility in the field that you're going to put a book out in before you put it out? Meaning, for example, if I decided to write a book on, I don't know, let's say leadership tomorrow, maybe that's not such a good one, but let's just pick that one. That doesn't work because I did work in project management, so that is kind of leadership. But you know what I'm saying? If you decide that you're going to publish a book that's completely, and you haven't been showing yourself as that on social media, that's not what your background is, that's not, what your career was and stuff. Like, how do you go about um, using that book as a starting point and building from there? Like, this was something that you were already working on and into, and you were already offering courses and doing stuff like that before you did the book.
Well, I mean, I had a podcast. I've interviewed over 800 women on the topic of confidence. So this was way
Okay.
before the book. And the book was just an extension of it. So being able to say, like, I there is proof, because I've interviewed all these women and I've learned a lot about confidence through that. So everyone's different, of course. If you don't have a podcast, just start putting videos out there talking about what you want to talk about. If you want to write a book on avocados, start talking about avocados, like, go to the
Exactly.
market and figure out, "Oh, I like this avocado over this, why this country of avocados is better than that." But you have to start somewhere, right? Like, if not, then nothing happens. And a lot of people have this fear, like, "Well, I'm not an expert." And being an expert doesn't mean you have to know every single thing. Being an expert is just knowing a little bit more than everybody else, just a little bit more, and you can build on that. So, just start. When I first started my podcast, I didn't know what I was doing. I just started reaching out to women, being into who wanted to be, asking them to be interviewed. And then I've been able to interview over 800 women. So for me, it was a long journey, but because I've had it for 10 years now, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. Like, there were times where I almost quit because I didn't know if what I was doing was the right path.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why having purpose is important, because when you have that purpose, you're more willing to do it even when times are uncertain, even if you have no idea what you're doing or where you're heading. You just know that it's going somewhere. And as women, we're very intuitive, but we don't trust our own intuition. And it's important to practice trusting our own intuition, because because we're very intuitive beings. Women are very intuitive. And sometimes you go there and you picture something in your head and it's like the total opposite. Like, that's fine, right? You can't expect what you're imagining in your head. Just know that later on everything will make sense, why everything happened for a reason, or why it had to happen that way. So
Right?
yeah.
So many times that happened, that here in the now, and then we think, oh, and we think back to something that happened a year ago or 2 years ago, and then you see the connection. And it happens to all of us. And then you reach to a point where you say to yourself, why do I always doubt? It always works out in the end. And still you fall, you go back into that loop, right?
Yeah.
It's been really enjoying the conversation. So the guests, they're dropping comments. I know you could go back and take a look at those. Please go ahead and scan the QR code that's up there. Sheena has that up there behind her, that you get a copy of Building the Confidence Gap. And I'm just going to take 2 minutes to run the little video that I ran in the beginning. And then I have a couple of questions for her on that video. All right, let's go ahead and run that video. I want to know about the white chair. I'm sorry. As soon as I saw the white chair, I was like, I have to put this picture in the video. Oh my God, she's so tiny in it.
That was actually at an event last month in Vegas. My friend had an event, and I traveled there to actually speak at her event, and they had those chairs. So if you're in Vegas, that's where the chairs are.
Oh my God, that is so cool. It reminds me of those Adirondack chairs. They have like these giant ones now. People like sitting down and take a picture. I'm like, that is just wow, king and queen. Totally cool. Now there was something else that popped up in the video there. Boss up. So is it that you have something coming up? You spoke in March and you'll be speaking again in October. You want to talk to us a little bit about that?
So that was actually the event that had the white chairs.
Oh, I thought it said March, and for some reason I thought it said October as well. So I
But there
thought,
will be one in New York in October, so I think I don't have as much details yet, but the first one was in March in Las Vegas, where we had those cool white chairs. And so it was actually a celebration, because during the pandemic, we actually created a book series called Women Who Boss Up. We had about 14 books under it, and it's become a movement. And so it was a 5-year anniversary, so we were celebrating that.
okay, that's awesome. It's a must that you come to New York. Make sure I know, because I'm here in New York and I will find myself there in October. I know Melissa's out there. She certainly is going to find herself here too. Thank you, Melissa. Oh my goodness. So, what's coming next for you? How can people get in contact with you? I'm just kidding. I'm running the banner now. Right there below, you can see where you can get all of Sheena's contact information. SheenaYapChan.com/links. You will find the links to every single way you can reach her. So,
Yes. Yeah, but LinkedIn's the best way. So I love LinkedIn. It's my favorite social media. Don't tell the other ones, but I do love LinkedIn a lot. So feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Just click the connect button. Love to chat with you, get to know a little bit more about you, and hopefully you can pick up a copy of Bridging the Confidence Gap. And then check out my podcast, The Tao of Self-Confidence. I do have some free tools that you can use as well for your career. So, like utilizing my visible framework. So, yeah.
wonderful. I did see that as well on the Amazon description, that there are other things in there that you can use. And I think it's so good when you actually not just sell the book, but give something with it that people can put into action now. Because it takes time to really read and go through a book and assimilate the parts that you want to take away and stuff like that. So it has been a pleasure having you. I do hope that you will come on again at some point, because I just think it's a necessary conversation. We need powerful women. We need women in different cultures as well on stages representing, right? All women. And
Yes.
minority women generally do not have as many opportunities. And this is said in no negative way, just in a very truthful way. And therefore, we have to use our voices and we have to step up and encourage other women to also do the same. So I truly enjoyed the conversation. If there's anything we could do to support you here in this community, you can see everybody out here is telling you that, they were very happy to be here. And people are already promising to come to New York. I'm just holding y'all all to that, just saying.
Oh
Okay,
my goodness.
now it's on you. All right, so let me go ahead and bring you backstage. I will be there in just 2 seconds. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. The last few weeks, you will see that I've been trying to stick to 30 minutes with the show. I know an hour can get long sometimes. This is dinner time for people. I apologize for not being here last week. Nellie Belly was sick, and I was a worried mama. And in terms of guiding Brilliant Writers Publishing House, I thank all of you for continuing to follow and support. We just published our 15th book in just about 2 years, and that was the Transformation Kitchen inaugural cookbook for Jason Forhan and HR for You. And what do we have coming up? Very soon, we have volume 2 of We Choose to Be More Than Our Diagnoses dropping at the end of May. June, Between Bells will be dropping. That anthology is with a dozen kids, and they're actually all Asian. And I'm working with them and their parents as well to publish stories. And they're all high school students between the ages of, I believe, 15 to 17. And then come July, we have Dr. Hunches' book coming up, The Mask. So, again, thank you so much for being here. Continue reading. And remember, the man that reads lives 1,000 lives. The man that doesn't lives only one. Have a wonderful evening.